Right. Let me ask you
Um,
a question from Navi Retlav. He wants to know if you ever make your own live recorded samples and kits from weird things. So I don't know if that. I guess that's kind of a twofer question. Do you ever make your
yeah,
own live kits?
yeah, sure. I mean, it's that's an interesting question because drums are probably the one instrument that I don't sit down and say, okay, I'm going to make a drum kit. It's by necessity if I'm working within a track. You know what I mean? Like I'll sit down and I'll program Thor, Maelstrom, what have you, and like make patches. But drums, that's usually an area where it's like when I'm right in the middle of it, and that's when I start, adding stuff. But I typically don't just sit down and program kits.
And let
But
me
I've
ask you,
saved
this
some.
is a flip. Have you ever taken a beat that you've played live, let's say using Soul School Detroit's kit, sampled it, rexed it, and then juggled your own beat?
Yeah, actually, I did. There's a video that Pef took of me playing drums on YouTube, and I liked it so much I went in and sampled it and rexed it up and then put it into a track. And but yeah, I typically don't record and then rex it, put it back in because it's already there, you know. And I want that control. So
Right. And a couple of questions coming in about layering drums. The kit that you've been demoing with us here is a very natural studio kit. But will you
right.
ever get into like layered kick drums and some of the hip hop techniques of layering up drums?
Yeah, totally. Like I said before, I might put an 808 underneath it. Put like a really tight electronic snare just on the two and the four. Um, yeah, sky's the limit, man. Like it's usually three layers. There's live playing, programmed, and then loops. You know, pardon me, all playing back together.
Gotcha. And this is a more music making production question. Two different people, Everything But the Girl and EOX08 or EOX, well, whatever it is. They want to know whether you make drums first or the melody first, and how whichever one comes first might inform the other, I presume.
I would say, I'll play the drums first if I hear something that I'm like, damn, I want to do that. And I'll just start playing and then, adding stuff to it. But typically, I start with a melody or, I don't know, a sound. I mean, most of my stuff, I mean, that's the thing. I don't plan on writing anything. All my ideas are terrible. It's when I sit down and just improvise, that's where all my best stuff comes from. And uh, most of the time, it's not starting off with drums. It's starting off with something else.
Gotcha. All right, let me just take a look here. Oh, okay, this is good. Campion wants to know, uh, what about fixing a flub note? Do you correct it with the pen tool? Do you nudge the note a little? Do you quantize it? Do you just replay it? I mean, are you perfectionistic about no, I must play this live, or will you go and tweak a take?
It's weird, I mean, if if it's something that I if I record something that I really like and it's just like a few little things, hell yeah, I'll fix them. But if it's almost like there's a ratio of like if it's like more than half bad or more than one eighth bad, I'll just redo it. I don't want to sit there and draw things.
And so the reason you learn this technique in the first place is to not have to do that. So
Exactly, But
right.
yeah, I'll go in and edit.
We have a little request in here from Streak1232 asking if you could play something using the cymbals and toms on a beat. So something that's not necessarily just hi hat, kick, snare. Do you have any sort
Yeah,
of patterns you've learned from that?
I don't know, man. That's not times are not really my thing. I mean, I guess. Place. Oh, what am I at here? Oh, transpose. it's I don't think like that. You know what I mean?
It seems like it's not it's a whole different headspace, right? I mean, you're not thinking about groove so much as you're thinking about almost the more tribal element of drums. I mean, at least from what you were playing.
Oh, thank you, Benjamin. What is your name? Benjamin 83-1. Yeah, no.
It did sound good.
Yeah, I would, that's funny because toms are probably something I would program, you know?
And that would apply then to
It's not,
fills as well.
yeah, I'm not, well, tom fills, but I'm not comfortable with toms. I don't know why.
And let me also ask
They
you,
scare me.
uh, one of the things I've noticed when I do programming of my beats is that I very often forget to think about, will this is this the right number of arms for a drummer to have? Like I'll have some tom two-handed fill going on while my hi-hat's going and crash cymbals are hitting, and I'll have to take a step back and go, wait a second, I've just created a three-drummer beat. This won't sound authentic no matter how hard I try to make it sound authentic, because do you pay attention to that? Obviously, you're when you're playing it in live, you don't have that worry because it's one person can do it. But when you program a
Yeah,
fill, do you have to start thinking about that?
no, I don't, I never think about whether something sounds authentic or not, really. It's just if it sounds right. And that's the only thing that matters to me. You know, because I'm not trying to fool anybody. I'm just trying to do what I guess, not necessarily hearing, but what I'm feeling, And if I do a drum beat, it doesn't matter if it's impossible or not to do it in the real world, Because I mean, there's some drum and bass out there that I would defy any drummer to play that beat straight for 2 hours. It's just it's not going to happen. And uh, authenticity is not my goal.
Gotcha.
Groove
I
and
got
feeling.
an off, well, not off topic, but it's more about global production and your style. Son of Maestro wants to know if you arrange your songs with block mode now that you've got block mode in Reason 5 and record.
I do use block modes sometimes. Like if a track is done and I have to rearrange it, you know what I mean? Or let's say I've done a track and I need to add vocals, like a serious amount of vocals. I'll block everything up, and that way it's just really quick to move things around and edit, you know, shorten things up or lengthen sections. I love blocks. I think that's a really cool feature.
Gotcha. Someone actually, a push button makes a good point to my sort of worry about the way that I program my drums. He says, "Who's to say a drummer wouldn't record a layered track in the studio anyhow?" Which is totally a valid point, you know.
I'm
And
sorry.
I think
Can
I
you
probably
repeat
tend
that?
to overthink and get scared. Think, "Oh my God, everyone's going to see through and realize I'm programming it." But it's like, hey, if it works, it works.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, that's like not even in my realm of thinking. I guess if I was in with a bunch of purists, I mean, they might take issue with it, but for
Well,
me,
see,
I
I
don't.
come from when my band used to record. We used to refuse to double our guitars because we're like, well, we only have one guitarist, so why would we record more than one guitar?
Right, I totally get where you're coming from, and it's funny because the studio is an impossible situation to begin with. You know what I mean? Like when you're playing live, you don't get to redo the chorus or punch in or any of that stuff. Uh, you're going in to make something that sounds right. So why are you going to limit yourself? Uh, it's just like, oh well, I can't sing vocals twice, so therefore I can't double it. If I can't do it live, then forget about doing it like that in the studio. It's crazy
Right.
talk, man.
Well, we are we've hit our hour mark here, and it's almost past my bedtime. So I'm gonna just put it out to the forum. If you guys have any last questions, uh, we would love to hear them. Zoido, sorry. um, I am really glad you guys tuned in. I think this has been really fun. Josh, from all of us at Propellerhead, we really thank you for doing this. I think it's been a really neat day one, you know?
Thank you. This is a blast, man.
The Remedy
Great to
Resource,
see you.
webinar high five. Yeah, you and me both. iChat state, yeah, right? Donk. Um, totally. Um, okay, so oh, I see. Just see if there's any last questions here. Do MIDI drum patterns help teach you about programming drums? That's a great question. We almost signed off before getting that one. Do you ever analyze MIDI drum patterns to kind of then teach your fingers to do them?
No, I just the music. If it's a beat like oh, Let the Rhythm Hit Him by Eric B. and Rakim. That beat just has fascinated me for all time, and I would just sit there for hours playing with
Gotcha.
And yeah,
And
so MIDI beats.
I would hate I would hate to let this question go un unanswered because it's written in all capital letters. Josh, do you have tutorials?
Yes, not for keyboard drumming though, unfortunately, but I did 2 videos with Kurt Kurosaki, aka Peth, at Groove Theory, called Music Production with Reason 4, and then Music Production with Reason to Record 5. And what they do is they deconstruct song Narrowscape and What's the Reason, which are both demo songs included with Reason 4 and Reason 5, respectively. And I get into a little bit of keyboard drumming, but only to create a beat. It's by no means a tutorial for drumming. But
So nothing specific on this, but tutorials about
yeah,
how you approach production in general.
yeah, that's right. Doing a song from scratch, all the way to the end, and from the very first note to the last note, and yeah, they're pretty cool. But I
Gotcha.
should put up a tutorial about playing the drums on the keyboard.
I think people
When
would
there's more
really stoked to see that. I mean, the first demo you did for me, I thought was really great. I really learned a lot from it. I think this session's been really great, and I've learned a lot from it. I hope other people have too.
Yeah,
And
this has been awesome.
yeah, the world wants more Josh Mobley drumming on his keyboard. Give us what we want,
I will
Josh.
provide. All right, winning.
So, listen, we have a request that you play us out. And I think that's a great request. I think maybe we end with a little jam.
All
And
right, I'll do
if I
the
had a
double
bass, I'd
hand.
play along with you.
Oh, hold on, that was a big fail.
I'm not going to rap to the beat, American Yellow. American Yellow's asked me to rap with you. All right, guys, we're going to sign it off. Josh, 1,000 thanks. Everybody for turning up, 10,000 thanks. And stick around for the rest of this month. We've got a ton of stuff coming up, and we have just begun. We are going to make some music this month if it kills us. All right, take care.
All right.
Good night, everybody.